Chino Hills versus Mater Dei in 2016 was one of the most iconic high school basketball matchups ever. Chino Hills, a public school that featured three brothers and a roster filled with hometown kids, faced off against one of the most premier private schools in the country. Mater Dei, as a high school basketball program, had absolutely dominated the high school basketball scene for decades. They've won 11 state championships and multiple national championships in their program's history, and had a roster this season that had 8 Division I recruits. And then there was Chino Hills, a public school that had one senior on their entire roster and a 14-year-old starting at shooting guard. You heard that right. Well, that 14-year-old shooting guard was LaMelo Ball, and LaMelo, paired with his two older brothers Lonzo and LiAngelo, took the entire nation by storm. Heading into this game, Chino Hills just started to put their names on the map and make some national headlines. They were undefeated, beat some big-name programs, and their style of play was electric to watch. The story of these brothers was just about to take over the internet. But the moment in which they officially broke the internet was in this game against Mater Dei, which showed just how unstoppable and unbelievable this Chino Hills team really was. The expectation for Chino Hills was to play a hard-fought game against a very well-coached and historically great high school program. Some thought on paper that this game could be a blowout. I mean, we're talking about 8 Division I recruits playing against a team that plays 5 kids the entire game with the most wild, run-and-gun, street-like style of basketball. And to the people that predicted a blowout, they were right. However, it was not at all what they anticipated. Right from the jump, you could tell this was going to be a different kind of game. Chino Hills wasn't just coming to compete, they were coming to dominate. The game started out on a 12-0 run for Chino Hills, with threes from Lonzo and LaMelo igniting this quick start. And from there, things got even uglier. The Ball brothers were pressing full court on defense, running the craziest fast breaks on offense, and simply playing their unique brand of basketball that Mater Dei simply could not compete with. They were all over Mater Dei shooters, forced consistently bad shots, and forced countless turnovers. The typically composed Mater Dei Monarchs were rattled by relentless pressure and were panicking with the ball. That's when things started to fall apart for Mater Dei, and it happened fast. The first quarter ended with a score of 33-6. Yes, you heard that right. The three Ball brothers alone outscored their entire team 20-6, and Mater Dei had no answers anywhere on the court, looking like they were the ones starting a 14-year-old shooting guard. Star players like Spencer Friedman and Justice Suing, who were dominating all season long, looked lost and couldn't remotely get their shots to fall for Mater Dei. Chino Hills, on the other hand, wasn't just playing their game, they were sending a message. They were here to win, and they weren't going to let anyone, regardless of where they were committed to play college ball, stand in their way. They were flying around the court and took a 56-25 lead into halftime. The message was sent. They embraced the underdog mentality and rocked Mater Dei like no one ever could have imagined. Gary McKnight, the legendary head coach of Mater Dei, has built a 40-year career with a remarkable 90% win rate. But on this night, even he was left in disbelief. In a jam-packed gym with scouts from all around the country in attendance, he watched his team get absolutely dominated by a public school rolling out a 5-man rotation with 2 freshmen that were running circles around his players. Now, I'm not sure if Gary is known for his halftime speeches, but whatever he said definitely didn't spark any energy. When his players came back onto the court, they looked even more stunned and deflated as they did before the break. And as the second half continued, Chino Hills treated the game almost like a joke. It got so bad that it was even reported that Chino Hills was trying to make up plays in the middle of the game just to keep fans entertained. The matchup was never competitive. It was like watching grown men against young boys. Chino Hills outscored them 33-15 in the third quarter, and by the time the third quarter ended, it was crazy to process that Chino Hills was up 89-40, an insane 49-point lead. By the time the fourth quarter started, the game was just a fun practice for Chino Hills. The score was so ugly, it was as if the varsity team played the middle school team and was clowning around having fun. They were clamping them up on defense every possession and scoring at will in any way they wanted to. The scariest part about this game is that the score got so bad they had a running clock in the fourth quarter. Thankfully for Mater Dei, the game eventually ended, and when that final buzzer sounded, the scoreboard didn't lie. Chino Hills had done the unthinkable. They had humbled Mater Dei in front of a packed crowd and shocked the basketball world with a blowout 102-54 victory. Chino Hills put on a clinic. The energy and chemistry of the Ball brothers ignited the entire team, leading to absolutely flawless execution with a series of highlight reel dunks, alley-oops, and fast breaks as they ran up the score. Statistically, Chino Hills shot 56% from the field compared to Mater Dei's 42%. Chino Hills forced an insane 31 turnovers on Mater Dei, and Chino Hills only attempted 3 free throws the entire game. They didn't need to draw fouls, they just ran them out of the gym and scored every time down the court. To put it simply, it was a complete dismantling of Mater Dei. And the Ball brothers' performances were nothing short of spectacular, as they showcased their unique brand of basketball that was simply unstoppable by even one of the best programs in the country. The crowd was in awe, and social media erupted with praise for this Chino Hills squad. So just to recap how unbelievably lopsided the victory was, they didn't even need all 3 Ball brothers to outscore all of Mater Dei, cause just Lonzo and LiAngelo, yes, the 2 of them alone, outscored all of Mater Dei by themselves. Lonzo and LiAngelo combined for 59 points, while Mater Dei as a whole team scored 54. They made this roster of 8 Division I recruits look like a JV squad. Chino Hills shook the high school basketball world and confirmed the hype that they were the real deal, showing no mercy to anyone in front of them. Mater Dei tried everything they could, while Chino Hills essentially went 5 deep the entire game. They started and finished with their starting 5 that consisted of the trio of Ball brothers, along with Onyeka Okongwu and Elijah Scott. The Ball brothers did their thing, and their father LeVar, well, he of course talked a lot about it. And to be honest, you can't really blame him. Just listen to these stat lines. Lonzo had 25 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds, 8 steals, and 2 blocks. LiAngelo dropped 34 and 5 threes. And LaMelo as a 14-year-old had 10 points and 6 assists. However, much like their entire season, it wasn't just about the Ball brothers. Onyeka Okongwu had 8 points, 6 boards, and 6 blocks, and Eli Scott went off for 23 points and 12 boards. On Mater Dei's side, senior MJ Cage was the only bright spot for them, scoring 16 points. 4-star recruit and Harvard commit Spencer Friedman had 10, and Ohio State commit Justice Suing had just 4 points. The worst of the struggles came from Arizona and Washington commits Matt Wyand and Reagan Lundeen. The 2 combined for a whopping 0 points. The game was more than just a high school matchup, it was a statement. This starting 5 of Chino Hills was something we had never seen before at a public high school, and it all started with the trio of brothers. Lonzo was the best player on the team in 2016 and proved he was one of the best in the nation. He was the floor general and leader of this team, paving his way to greatness at UCLA. LaMelo showed his ridiculous potential as a fearless 5'9", 14-year-old kid with a remarkable future ahead of him. LiAngelo was the leading scorer of the entire team. He was a physical, offensive threat who was an elite shooter, dropping 30 on a routine basis. And center Onyeka Okongwu was a vacuum in the paint and a dominant force on the inside as a 15-year-old, ready for his future days at USC. And Eli Scott was the glue that put the whole puzzle together and made all the winning plays, similar to what Draymond Green has done for the Golden State Warriors for years and what Josh Hart does for the Knicks every single night. A complete hustle guy who knows and plays his role at a high level. The infamous 48-point blowout victory was only the start for the Chino Hills squad. Lonzo Ball dominated the college basketball world at UCLA and gave us some instant showdowns, especially against De'Aaron Fox and Kentucky. He went on to be drafted second overall by the Los Angeles Lakers and showed all the flashes in the world. Unfortunately, injuries plagued him for the last couple of seasons, but now he's getting consistent playing time again for the Bulls, showing the world Zoe still has what it takes. LaMelo is a superstar before our eyes. He was drafted third overall by the Charlotte Hornets in 2020 and has become the face of the franchise ever since. He was the fourth youngest player in NBA history to become an All-Star, only behind Magic, Kobe, and LeBron. He's averaging 28 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds a game and is a walking highlight reel every time he steps on the floor. Onyeka Okongwu dominated at USC and was drafted 6th overall by the Atlanta Hawks in the 2020 draft. He's carved out a big role for the Hawks and is having his best season yet, averaging 11 points and 8 rebounds a game. Yes, you heard us correctly. They had 3 NBA lottery picks picked in the top 10, all from the same town, on the same high school team. LiAngelo never quite saw his high school success transfer to college and the pros after he was suspended by UCLA. He had a couple G League appearances and has blown up in an unexpected way as a rapper and performed his fire song Tweaker at halftime of the Lions playoff game. Eli Scott had the least hype of the 5, but went on to play 5 seasons at Loyola Marymount and had a great college career there. So there you have it, the story of the night Chino Hills humbled Mater Dei. A jam-packed game that was filled with drama, excitement, and a historic blowout that absolutely no one could have ever anticipated. But what are your thoughts? Do you think 2016 Chino Hills is the best high school basketball team of all time? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, be sure to drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more basketball videos. We'll see you in the next one.